Welcome back to Ask Amy. I have a question today that I'm moving to the front of the line. I had a few lined up before it, but when this question came through, I wanted to move it to the front. It's from Maria. Maria says, I lost my son 5 weeks ago from a tragic accident. I was wondering if you could speak about the understanding regarding grief and helping myself to heal. What I've noticed so far is that one day I can talk about something concerning, say, for example, the funeral, but the next day the same subject is very painful and brings lots of tears. What I know is that my thoughts are not to be trusted, if that's the right way of putting it. I always look forward to listening to Ask Amy every Monday. You give a brand new perspective that can make all the difference. I'm very grateful. So I'm so sorry, Maria, to hear about your loss, and I'm so glad that you reached out, not because there's anything that I or anyone can say or do really, um, but there are a few things I want to point you toward that I think are so helpful in times like these, and especially when we're in this place of where everyone is, no matter what you're going through, no matter what uh, loss or suffering we're in, our minds are trying so hard to figure things out. That's just what they do. They will never stop doing that. So I'm really glad you reached out in that we can look a little bit at what your mind is likely doing right now, and then what's bigger and truer beyond what your mind is doing, in a way that can be really helpful, because at least you know what's what. There's nothing anyone can do or say, you, anyone else, that's going to change the experience that you're having in terms of, like, not grieving or having the grieving necessarily be easier. Like, we're not in charge. That's like saying that we can change the weather. Like, we are not in charge of what we feel. And I think we'd be crazy, although we all want to do it at times, we would be crazy to try to get in the way of that and make our grieving or our process go a certain way. Now, obviously, when we're suffering and we feel horrible, that's exactly what our minds are trying to do. Our minds are trying to step in and save us from it, because to our mind, it looks dangerous and like we can't handle it and this is not okay. And then our mind will start telling stories about, why am I okay, right? Why was Monday a day I could talk about the funeral, but Monday night I couldn't even think about it? Like, our minds will come up with theories and try to make up stories and explanations, and they're just trying to help us through. They're just trying to help us feel safe and think we know what's coming and all that stuff that linear logical minds will want to do. But you want to see that. You want to notice how your mind is doing that and see none of that is necessary. And I think that's what you say, Maria, when you say, I know my thoughts can't really be trusted right now. I love that you see that. That's huge that you see that, because you're absolutely right. Your mind's going to run you in circles and try to figure this out and tell a million stories. And if you can know, okay, I don't need to listen to all that, it's going to make it so much easier at times. You don't have to do anything to help your own grieving. None of us do. We don't have to manage our feelings. We don't have to manage our grief process. You don't have to manage your own healing. You don't have to step in and do anything or think a certain way or see anything that you don't currently see in order to move through this and to be healed, if you want to use those words, like to heal from this and to move through it. Again, that's a force of nature. Life and grief and healing and all of it. Think of it as weather. Think of it as waves on the ocean. We are no different. Like, we are human nature, and we like to think we're special and different and separate from the rest of nature, but we aren't. It works exactly the same way. So just like there may be this huge hurricane on the ocean and a force of nature is doing that, we would be crazy to think we're going to get in the way of that and make it go better, make it go easier, make it go faster. We know better than that. We have no say in any of that. The same is true, really, when it comes to our human nature, our experience, our grieving, and our healing. You don't need to play an active role in that. It is done for you, Maria. It will be done for you and through you. And you kind of can't stop it. Now, I say kind of because what we do is we believe our minds. We get caught up in what our mind says, and we think we can stop it. We think that we need to help it, or this feeling's wrong, or it shouldn't be happening this way or for that long, and all that stuff our mind talks about and tells us about it. When we believe that, we're still not stopping our own grieving process. We're not really stopping it. We're not stopping our healing. It's so much bigger than us. So we're not really interfering with the flow of life, but man, it can feel like we are, and we can think we are. And if we think we are, and we think, I'm stuck in this, it should be different, all that stuff we think, if we think that stuff, we're going to experience that stuff. It's going to feel like it should be different and that we're stuck. You're not really, but you'll have the experience of that. So does that make sense? Like I hope you, everyone listening, can kind of get a feel for how that goes. Like we are so ultimately safe in everything we feel, even the loss of a child, and everything. We are designed for this. We are designed to feel life moving through us and let it wash through us, and to feel what comes on the other side of that, and then to feel it come back around and to feel what's on the other side of that. We can handle that. You are so much bigger than all of this, and you will be okay. You are okay no matter what. And knowing that can help so much. Can help so much because it allows you to open up a little bit and let it all through. See if you can trust. You won't be able to all the time. That's fine. No one can. In much lesser degrees of suffering, we can't at times. But see, Maria, if you can know that, okay, life is handling this for you. It is going to grieve you. You don't have to grieve it. It will grieve through you. It will heal through you. All you have to do, you don't really even have to do this, but your role, if you want to roll, is to let it, is to trust it. Trust when you are feeling lower than you think you can handle. Trust that you can handle it. When you're feeling okay, when you have moments of feeling okay and even feeling like yourself again, that's okay too. Trust that. Your mind will tell you it's not okay. Your mind will say you shouldn't be feeling this way, good or bad. Your mind will give you timelines. Your mind will go all over the place on all that linear stuff and rules and how it should be and all of that. You already know, because you said it in your question, that you don't need to trust that, and you don't. What you can trust is what's showing up, that you can handle what's showing up. And in that way, it's almost like we get to just, our mind goes into the back and life comes to the front, and we're just sort of along for the ride. It's a roller coaster. It may be for a while, but you know that it's a roller coaster. You know that it's ultimately safe, even when it doesn't feel safe, that it's ultimately ebbing and flowing and coming and going, even when you swear in the moment it's not. That's what we can see. That makes the hardest thing that any human, I think, can probably go through a little bit easier, feel a little bit safer. Is knowing that you're going to feel it, you're going to get lost in it, you're going to get caught up in it, it's going to be horrible. Sometimes it's not going to be horrible, but that's separate from all that moving, changing stuff, separate from the ride of the roller coaster. It's a safe process. You are okay. You are safe. Anything that shows up through you is okay. And kind of letting it, welcoming it, and the best you can, because I mean, by 1 o'clock this afternoon already today, in a nice cushy life with nothing happening, I've resisted my experience 100 times already. We all have. So we will resist it. You will resist it, Maria. You will be afraid of it. You'll think you can't handle it, and you still can. That's all part of how it goes is we think we can't, but we can. So most of all, Maria, please know that you don't have to manage anything. This is so much bigger than you, and you're being held through all of this, even when you think you aren't. I hope something in this is helpful, and it may not be now, and that's okay too. Maybe you listen to this in a month or a year or whenever it is, and it's helpful. But thank you for sending your question. I know pieces of this are going to be helpful for other people. And sending you so much love, Maria. Reach out anytime. And thank you, everyone, for listening. I'll see you back here next Monday.